If you've ever scanned in an old photo and as you zoom in on it, you're going to see that something really starts to become apparent here. And there's 1,000 little spots and speckles all throughout this photo. All right, so what do? Do you take the, let's say we go with the spot healing brush, and do you make it really tiny and you go through and try to fix every single one of them? Of course not. There's obviously a better way to do this, or I wouldn't be doing a video on it. So here's what you do. Photoshop's actually got a filter that will take care of this all for you. All right, I'm just going to give you a little tip when it comes to using that filter. We're going to press Command J on the Mac or Control J on the PC. What that does is duplicate the layer. Then we're going to come up here to the filter menu. You're going to go down to noise, and it's the last place you'd expect a filter that actually fixed these little speckles to be. But you go down to noise, and sometimes the way filters are in Photoshop, because if you look at this, it's like little bits of noise inside of here. Sometimes the way filters are in Photoshop is the very thing you want to take away is where you have to go. Like, you know, I think distort is where I want to distort things, but honestly, there's ways to remove distortion inside here. Same thing with this. So you go to noise, and of course you can add noise, but there's one called dust and scratches. So when I choose that, magically, all of my little spots disappear. All right, and all I have the radius as low as it can go, 1 pixel. I have the threshold as low as it can go, 0 levels. And take a look. I'm going to zoom in. All right, take a look at the preview when I toggle it on and off. Here's before, here's after. Again, before, and then after. You got to admit, that's pretty darn cool for the amount of work that we just spent here. We duplicated a layer and we ran one filter. Okay, so that's before and after. So I'm going to click OK at this point. And the only thing you're going to notice, and it doesn't happen all the time, but is in removing these little spots, Photoshop can sometimes go in there and it blurs some of the details a little bit. And it's not totally apparent, but if it does happen, one of the things you can do is add a layer mask to the layer that you added the filter to. Take your brush tool, set your foreground color to black, all right, and then just make your brush small enough, and all we're going to do here is just go in here and paint back in some of these areas, like the eyes. The eyes are probably the main part. I just paint them back in. Maybe the mouth. Hop over here to the gentleman. No, it kind of got glitter above his eyes. All right, just a little bit down here, and you can see we add a little bit of that noise back in, a little bit of that texture, but it's okay. We can get rid of, we can accept it there because it'll actually give the impression of detail inside some of those key areas. All right, and you can maybe even paint around some of the edges and things like that, and it'll just make it look a little bit sharper. So as I back out, when we take a look, if I hide that top layer, all right, let's zoom in here. If I hide the mask on this top layer, I just press the shift key and click on the mask. That's before, that's after. All right, this is before and after totally. Here's with all the specks, and here's without. Specks, no specks. But if I just shift click on the mask, I can show you what it looked like before I masked it, and what it looked like after. And it's just a matter of minor, it's probably a little hard to see in the video as well, just a matter of some minor details in some of those key areas. And that's where you can get the best of both worlds, because if you duplicate it, you apply the filter, and even if it does blur things a little bit, you just use that layer mask to come in there and just paint back in some of those key detail areas.